Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, I present to you the two possible paths. Now, obviously, people are going to comment, okay, well, Anders, technically there are more than two paths. But in this video, okay, there are two paths. That's how this video is going to go. And the two paths of which I speak have to do with the coming months and the coming releases that are relevant to this channel, meaning Delta Force and, of course, the new Battlefield. One path is potentially filled with sunshine, rainbows, unicorns, and happiness. The other path is filled with gigantic magma-filled chasms, bats flying through the sky, lightless days, and you losing every sports bet you ever make. So let's get right into the video. If you enjoy the channel, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, especially if you plan on following the next Battlefield game or Delta Force or just FPS in general. I'm your boy, okay? And come by the streams. I stream every single day. First link in the description, Twitch TV Enders. The first path we shall be discussing is unfortunately the path that is less likely to occur. This is the sunshine path, okay? And honestly, guys, yeah, there isn't a great chance of this happening. In order for this path to take place, first of all, what needs to happen is Delta Force needs to remedy all of the problems we've been complaining about, meaning they need to remove AI from the Battlefield mode. The game needs to have a fantastic release. The game needs to maintain a relatively high amount of interest. The extraction shooter mode has to maintain a relatively high player count. So does the Battlefield mode. And that's a runaround way of saying Delta Force has to release, make the right changes, and then perform well. Now, this is only half of the good path, because what Delta Force being good at release does for us is it takes the disgruntled, extraction shooter / Battlefield player base, and it finally gives them at least something to play. I know I will be playing Delta Force when that game comes out, but I don't control whether or not they make the right decisions. And that is especially true for the second requirement for the path of unlimited happiness to occur. The second requirement is, of course, the next Battlefield releasing and doing well. Now, these two events occurring back to back is basically impossible. And I know some people are going to hear that and be like, oh, Enders, where's your glass half full viewpoint? And, I have to say, it's not present because I've seen too much. I really have. I've been exposed to too much pain, suffering, despair, anguish, and doom and gloom over the past 6 years of FPS gaming. In fact, I would go on and say that the past 6 to 7 years of FPS gaming has been some of the worst, if not the worst, it has ever been in the history of the genre. We're talking every single major game is pretty much terrible. Like, even CS2, I'm hearing from CS players, is worse than CSGO. Like, really? Seriously, that you took one of the best games and then you just, made it worse? Oh my god. And then, of course, Call of Duty, X-Defiant, Battlefield, and everything else, that doesn't need any explanation. You guys understand what's going on with those games. But just for a second, imagine if the path of unlimited rainbow unicorn happiness actually occurred, and we got back-to-back decent games that will also coexist simultaneously. There wouldn't have to be so much negativity surrounding these games anymore. In fact, I would be willing to bet a lot of people's viewpoint of me and many other creators would change because we're not forced to speak negatively about our favorite games anymore because they'd be decent. And on a massive side note, I've always been kind of confused about this. I'm not really sure why rightfully critiquing something falls back on the creator rather than the product that we're critiquing. But that's beside the point. Now, the second possible path is unfortunately more likely because, as history has shown us, it's not looking too hot for FPS games recently. So in order for this to occur, there would have to be back-to-back fumbles, the likes of which I'm not sure you can even compare to anything else other than maybe Concord. So Delta Force goes to release. They somehow don't listen to anything anyone is talking about. The rest of the content is mediocre, and the game's interest and player base and all that sort of thing dies really fast, and then it doesn't hold us over until the next Battlefield game. And then, because if that wasn't enough, the next Battlefield game releases and is par for the course, which means that it's just like the worst game of the year, dies instantly. And then alongside that, because this would be the third terrible Battlefield game in a row, I wouldn't guarantee that there would be another Battlefield game after after this, so it could mean potentially the cancellation of Battlefield as we know it. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this is how it's been trending, all right? I unfortunately missed the quote-unquote train when it comes to Battlefield. In my early days, right, when I first started out streaming in May of 2018, that is when things were rolling down for Battlefield 1 and things were starting to ramp up for Battlefield 5. I literally missed pretty much the golden era, if you will, of Battlefield in terms of like content and just when to play the games. In my time as a content creator, the only thing I have ever witnessed is absolute disappointment. I can name 20, 30, 40 streamers that used to be my friends, that used to play with me, or I used to watch, that have either completely quit or stream so infrequently that I barely even interact with them anymore as a result of these games being really bad. In real time, I witnessed the active destruction of the Battlefield franchise from a front row seat with a unique eye into the living, breathing Battlefield community as a streamer and as a YouTuber. I witnessed the Battlefield community become potentially the most jaded and negative community I've ever seen. And, you know, it's no fault of our own. Like, of course we're going to be like that because EA and DICE always drop the ball. Now, is that going to happen this time around? I don't know. I mean, I'd like to say no, but you can never say no when EA and DICE are involved. We can only base our opinions and stuff off of what we've heard so far, but even what we've heard so far doesn't matter because we haven't seen anything. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait and see and feel how Delta Force is. We're going to have to wait and see and feel how the next Battlefield game is because, again, guys, it doesn't matter what EA says. They could tell us they're getting rid of specialists and 128 players and they're going back to BF3 and all that stuff. It doesn't matter. All we can do as a community is sit here and react to what happens. But I do hope that the path that I described in the later half of this video does not occur. I am personally really exhausted to my core about this ridiculous amount of negativity surrounding these games. I would love to cover a decent Battlefield game. I would love to cover Delta Force being great. I'm really tired of kind of being forced to cover these games in a negative light because no one can seem to remember how to make a video game. I am super exhausted about the constant, repetitive, negative conversations about how EA sucks and DICE sucks and Battlefield sucks and it's dead and there's cheaters and there's stream stuff. It's the conversation even for me is so repetitive and exhausting that I can feel my eyes like sinking into my skull as I'm talking about it in this voiceover. So those are the two possible paths, ladies and gentlemen. I certainly hope, just for everyone's sake, that the second path doesn't happen and it's some variation on the first path, because I think we can all agree the way FPS games have been trending is literally exhausting. We just want to sit down and play a video game that's not annoying or really bad. Like, that'd be really cool, guys, if you could do that. So, if you enjoyed the channel, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and maybe leave your own two possible paths, or multiple paths, in your opinion. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.